I turned 82 years old yesterday. To celebrate, I didn't throw a party. I didn't go on a cruise. I simply decided to go to the bank to update my savings book. A simple errand. I dressed up for the occasion. I wore my best charcoal suit, the one I used to wear to board meetings 30 years ago. I polished my shoes. I combed the few strands of gray hair I have left. I wanted to look sharp. I wanted to look like I still mattered. I walked into the bank. The air conditioning was cold. The lights were bright. I stood in line, holding my ticket number A42. When the screen flashed my number, I walked up to the counter. I stood there, straight and tall, waiting for the young lady behind the glass to acknowledge me. She didn't. She kept typing furiously on her keyboard. Her eyes were glued to the screen. I cleared my throat. "Good morning," I said, putting on my most polite smile. Still nothing. She didn't even blink. It was as if sound waves stopped existing the moment they left my mouth. Then, a young man in a t-shirt and jeans walked up and stood slightly behind me, to my left. He wasn't even in line. He just leaned forward to ask a quick question. Immediately, instantly, the teller looked up. Her face lit up with a professional smile. "Can I help you?" "Sir," she asked him. I stood there, frozen. My hand was still resting on the counter. My bank book was right in front of her face, but she looked right through me. She looked through my suit, through my skin, through my 82 years of existence, to address the 25-year-old standing behind me. In that split second, a cold, brutal realization hit me harder than any physical pain I have ever felt. She wasn't being rude. Rude implies she saw me and chose to ignore me. No, this was worse. She didn't see me at all. To her, I was not a customer. I was not a man. I was just part of the architecture. I was a piece of furniture. I was invisible. The process of fading away. They don't tell you about this in the retirement brochures. They tell you about the aches and pains. They tell you about the memory loss. But nobody warns you about the invisible wall. It doesn't happen overnight. It is a slow, agonizing fade. When you are 50, you are the captain of the ship. People look at you for answers. Your voice commands the room. When you are 60, you are the advisor. People still listen, but they start looking at their watches. When you are 70, you become sweet. People smile at you, but they stop asking for your opinion on serious matters. But when you cross the line into life after 80, you enter a ghost world. You walk down the street, and people don't step aside for you. You have to step aside for them. If you stumble, people don't rush to help. They look away, embarrassed by your frailty. I have realized that society has a specific way of looking at the very old. It is a gaze that says, "You are done. Why are you still here?" It is not hatred. It is indifference. It is the feeling of being a guest who stayed too long at the party. The hosts are cleaning up, turning off the lights, and you are still sitting on the couch, waiting for another drink that is never coming. This is the first brutal reality of being 82. You are screaming at the top of your lungs. But to the rest of the world, you are on mute. Growing up, we were fed a lie. A beautiful, comforting lie. We were told, respect your elders. Age brings wisdom. The older you get, the more valuable you become. In ancient tribes, this was true. The elders held the history of the tribe in their heads. They were the libraries. If the tribe wanted to know how to survive a drought, they had to ask the 80-year-old, because he was the only one who had survived the last one. But we do not live in a tribe anymore. We live in the information age. Today, a 12-year-old with an iPhone has access to more information in 5 seconds than I have accumulated in 82 years. My wisdom is obsolete. My stories are boring. My advice is outdated. Modern society worships two gods, speed and novelty. Look around you. Everything is designed to be fast. Fast food, fast internet, fast fashion, fast dating. And here I am, an 82-year-old man. My body is slow. My processing speed is slow. I walk slow. I eat slow. I count my money slow. To a society addicted to speed, I am not a revered elder. I am a traffic jam. I am an obstacle. I am the slow car in the fast lane that everyone is honking at. When that bank teller looked through me, she wasn't seeing a human being. She was seeing a delay. She was seeing 5 minutes of her life being wasted because I might take too long to sign my name. And then there is the voice. Have you noticed how people change their voice when they talk to you? Psychologists call it elder speak. It happened to me at the clinic last week. The nurse, a sweet girl who meant no harm, leaned in close to my face. She raised her pitch 2 octaves high, like she was talking to a golden retriever or a toddler. And how are we doing today? Sweetie, did we take our little pills? I wanted to scream. I wanted to grab her shoulders and say, I am not we. I am not sweetie. I am a doctor of philosophy. I have raised 3 children. I have buried a wife. I have fought in wars. Speak to me like a man, but I didn't. I just nodded. Because I knew if I got angry, I would just be labeled as the grumpy old man. This is the trap. If you accept the invisibility, you disappear. If you fight against it, you are a nuisance. They strip away your titles. They strip away your history. And they replace it with patronizing nicknames, dear, honey, Gramps. It is a subtle form of dehumanization. It is society's way of saying you are no longer an adult with agency. You are a child who needs to be managed. So, let's stop lying to ourselves. The world does not respect us. The world tolerates us, and barely. But why? Is it just cruelty, or is there something deeper, darker, and more biological going on in their brains when they look at our wrinkled faces? Let's dive into the psychology of fear. To understand why we become invisible, we have to stop looking at ourselves and start looking into the minds of the young. I spent a long time being angry at that bank teller. I thought she was just rude. I thought she was poorly raised. But then I read about something called terror management theory. And suddenly, everything made sense. You see, deep down, every human being is terrified of death. It is the primal fear that drives everything we do. We build skyscrapers. We write books. We have children, all to deny the fact that one day we will cease to exist. Young people live in a beautiful bubble of denial. They feel immortal. They think time is infinite. They think their skin will always be smooth and their knees will always work. And then I walk into the room. I am 82. My hands shake. My skin is like parchment paper. I walk with a cane. To that young girl, I am not a person. I am a memento mori. I am a walking, breathing billboard that screams, "You will die too." When she looks at me, the illusion of her immortality shatters. She sees her own future. She sees her own decay, and that is terrifying. So, what does her brain do? It triggers a defense mechanism. It deletests me. If she ignores me, she can ignore the reality of aging. If she looks through me, she can maintain the fantasy that she will stay 25 forever. She wasn't looking past me because I am worthless. She was looking past me because I am the ghost of Christmas future, and she is too scared to look me in the eye. We are not invisible because we are small. We are invisible because we are too heavy for them to carry. The biology of irrelevance. But it is not just fear. It is also biology. We like to think we are civilized creatures, but our brains are still primitive hardware. From an evolutionary standpoint, the human brain is wired to pay attention to only 2 things: threats and opportunities. When a young man walks into a room, he scans for threats. Is there a bigger, stronger male here who might hurt me? And opportunities. Is there a potential mate here? Where do I fit in? I am 82. I am physically frail, so I am not a threat. I cannot fight him. I am obviously not a reproductive prospect, so I am not a mating opportunity. So, to his primitive lizard brain, I am data noise. I am irrelevant information. I am the background static on a radio channel. This is why that young man at the bank stood in front of me. His brain literally did not register me as an entity that occupies space. I possess neither the danger to command respect nor the allure to command desire. It hurts to admit this. It hurts to say out loud that we are biologically obsolete. But realizing this is the first step to freedom. They are not ignoring me, the person with a soul and memories. They are ignoring the vessel, which has served its evolutionary purpose. We are the old lions who have been pushed out of the pride, and the pride only looks forward, never backward. Ageism is self-hatred. So, the next time you feel invisible, remember this: it is not about you. When society pushes us to the margins, when they treat us like children, when they refuse to make eye contact, it is an act of mass cowardice. They are practicing ageism. But ageism is unique. Racism is hating someone for being different. Sexism is hating someone for being a different gender. But ageism is hating your own future self. Every time a young person disrespects an elder, they are disrespecting the person they will inevitably become if they are lucky enough to live that long. I look at them, running fast, staring at their phones, ignoring the old man in the suit, and I don't feel anger anymore. I feel pity, because I know something they don't. I know that the invisible wall is waiting for them too. It is coming for everyone. And one day, 50 years from now, that rude young man will stand at a counter, wearing his best suit, and he will realize that he, too, has become glass. But the pain of strangers is one thing. We can handle strangers. We can handle the bank teller. What breaks our heart, what truly destroys us, is when the invisibility follows us home. When we become invisible to the people who bear our own name. The bank was painful, but I could shrug it off. She was a stranger. She meant nothing to me. But the real heartbreak happens on Sunday evenings. In my own dining room, at the table that I paid for, in the house that I built. It is Sunday dinner. My son is there. His wife is there. My 2 teenage grandkids are there. The room is full of noise and energy. Forks are clinking against plates. They are talking about politics, about the new electric car my son wants to buy, about a viral video on TikTok. I sit at the head of the table. I am physically present. I am eating the same roast chicken, but I am not really there. I watch the conversation volley back and forth like a tennis ball. I turn my head left, then right. I wait for an opening. I wait for a pause so I can jump in. Finally, there is a small silence. I clear my throat. I say, back in Atusan Neo Ota, during the big blackout, we didn't have electric cars, but we. Before I can finish the sentence, my grandson's phone pings. Oh, wait, Dad, look at this message, he shouts. And just like that, the tennis ball flies away. My sentence hangs in the air, unfinished. It floats there for a second, then dissolves like smoke. Nobody asks, "What were you saying, Grandpa?" They didn't interrupt me to be mean. They interrupted me because my story from 1978 has zero value to them. To them, it is just static noise. Talking about me, not to me. Then comes the most humiliating part. The third-person treatment. Later that evening, we are all in the living room. My son looks at my daughter-in-law and points a thumb at me. "Did Dad take his blood pressure medicine today?" he asks her. I am sitting 3 feet away from him. I have ears. I have a mouth. Yet, he asks her about my body. I don't know. Check his pill box. She replies. They discuss my health, my schedule, and my hygiene right in front of me, as if I am a toddler, or a dog, or a broken refrigerator that needs fixing. This is the brutal reality of life after 80. You stop being a subject, someone who acts, and you become an object, something to be managed. I see the look in my son's eyes. It is love. Yes, but it is a heavy, burdened love. It is the kind of look you give to an old family pet that keeps peeing on the rug. You love him, but he is a lot of work. He loves me, but he doesn't like me anymore. He doesn't find me interesting. He doesn't wonder what I think about the world. He just wants to make sure I stay alive and don't fall down the stairs. I have become a project. I am no longer a person. The invisible exit. Eventually, the noise of the TV and the rapid-fire conversation becomes too much. I stand up to go to bed. I walk past the sofa. I walk past the chairs. Nobody looks up. Nobody says, "Good night, Grandpa." They are too absorbed in the blue light of their screens. I close my bedroom door. The click of the latch is the loudest sound I have heard all night. I sit on the edge of my bed and look at a photo on my nightstand. It was taken 40 years ago. I was standing in the center, strong, tanned, holding my son on my shoulders. Everybody was looking at me. Everybody needed me. Now, I am in the same house, but I am living in a different dimension. It hurts. God, it hurts. The ego screams, I am still here, I still have thoughts, I still have feelings, but screaming is useless. You cannot force people to see you. You cannot force relevance. So, what do? Do you cry yourself to sleep every night? Do you become bitter and angry? Do you demand attention? No. That is the path to misery. There is another way, a rebellious way, a way to turn this invisibility into a superpower. I stopped crying about being invisible the day I realized something profound. Invisibility is a superpower. Think about it. Who are the most powerful people in a spy movie? The ones who blend in. The ones nobody notices. Since society decided to treat me like a piece of furniture, I decided to become the most observant piece of furniture in history. I became a spy. I sit on the park bench with my eyes closed. People think, oh, look at that poor old man napping. But I am not napping. I am listening. Because they think I am invisible, they lower their guard around me. They say things in front of me that they would never say if they thought I was relevant. I hear my son complaining about his boss. I hear my daughter-in-law worrying about money. I see the secrets they try to hide from the world. They reveal their true selves to me because they don't think I am watching. This is the rebel solution. Stop trying to be the main character. For 60 years, I was the main character. I had to solve problems. I had to lead. I had to speak. Now I am the narrator. I sit back. I watch the drama. I see their mistakes before they make them. And here's the best part, I don't have to fix it. It is liberating. I possess the truth, but I carry no burden. I am the wisest person in the room precisely because nobody knows I am listening. Stop chasing the boats. I also learned a second lesson. Stop chasing attention. For years, I was like a desperate tugboat, chasing after the big ships, my children. Society, honking my horn, screaming, look at me, I can help, listen to my advice. It was exhausting, and it was pathetic. Now, I have changed my strategy. I am no longer a tugboat. I am a lighthouse. A lighthouse does not run around the ocean looking for boats to save. A lighthouse stands on the rock. It is immovable. It shines its light into the darkness. If the boats, my children, want to look at the light and avoid the rocks, good for them. I am here. If they choose to ignore the light and crash into the rocks, that is their choice. I will still be standing here. This requires a massive shift in ego. You have to accept that your validation comes from within, not from them. When I stopped trying to force my way into the conversation at dinner, something funny happened. The silence didn't feel awkward anymore. It felt peaceful. I ate my food. I enjoyed the flavor of the rosemary on the chicken. I watched my family with a detached curiosity. I realized I didn't need them to look at me to know I exist. I exist because I think. I exist because I feel. I exist because I say so. So, my friends, if you are feeling the pain of the invisible wall today, let me tell you this. Do not bang on the wall. Do not beg to be seen. That is beneath your dignity. Instead, lean back. Embrace the shadows. Being invisible means you are free. You are free from the pressure to impress. You are free from the need to perform. You can wear what you want. You can say what you want. You can observe the world with the clarity that only an outsider possesses. Let the young people run their race. Let them chase their speed and their novelty. They will hit the wall eventually. They will become us one day. But until then, enjoy your secret status. You are the spy. You are the lighthouse. You are the ghost at the feast. And frankly, the food tastes better when you stop waiting for someone else to pass you the salt. If this brutal truth resonated with you, you are going to love tomorrow's video. I am going to talk about why I stopped calling my children first. It is going to be another controversial one. Subscribe if you want the truth, not the sugarcoating. I see you, even if nobody else does.